Hi, everyone. You are listening to Retail Shift, a field guide to retail success. This is a podcast produced by Merchant Method, and I'm Chris Gio. I am thrilled that you've joined me. I'm a retailer and a merchant. I'm a small business owner and small business consultant. I'm also a mom and a teacher, and it's taken me years to embrace this teacher role. Earlier this year, I worked with a wonderful writer who helped me dust off my industry observations, my field notes, all of these gems of my past professional experience that really make Merchant Method my method and that make me as a person and a professional me. We are done with that work and I absolutely loved it, but going on that journey and diving deep, I'm definitely not done reflecting on my field observations. I'm not done reapplying them to modern independent retail and making. I'm not done contextualizing and sharing these observations. And so this podcast season is really dedicated to sharing my qualitative notes about the retail industry. I want to give fuller meaning to what's happening and how we can use these observations to help us better understand this retail industry that we love. It's complicated, it's changing, and I don't want independent retailers and makers to feel like they're being left behind. What I hope is that you pair these observations with retail trend reports to unlock more profit with more ease. I'm a huge believer that you can create and reshape your dream business and also have your dream job. So last week, I have continued to clean my basement. And I didn't know this, but every time my parents would drive and visit me, they would deposit one box in my basement. They probably did this once a year. And so I'm going through boxes and boxes of childhood mementos. And it is evidence of all of these early things that help shape who I am today. And I was reminded of this activity that took place at the end of my senior year in high school. And the senior class voted on predictions for individual classmates. Things like high school sweethearts most likely to get married, most likely to play for the NFL, most likely to go to space. My dear friend and my debate partner was voted most likely to succeed. And I had really no feelings about these predictions. I was quite neutral about them until I read the one that my classmates chose for me. And that was most likely to become a teacher. It seemed very ill-fitting as someone who was bound for business school, specifically studying entrepreneurship and new and small business management. It just didn't seem right. And I just thought, wow, my classmates don't know me at all. But as I was strolling through these boxes and then, really capping off that organization with a conversation, an interview, it became really clear that all signs pointed to, in fact, yes, I was likely to become a teacher because I am a teacher. And the question I was asked last week is, how far back can you trace your love for teaching? And I remember being in preschool or kindergarten and going with, family friends that were my age, peeking in on their next door neighbor. And their next door neighbor was a kindergarten teacher, and we happened to watch her play an acoustic guitar and sing. And I was fascinated by that. And I wanted to be just like her. And, I wanted to be just like a lot of people and have a lot of different careers, from kindergarten on. But I was telling that story, and the person I was speaking with had commented, "Oh, you wanted to be Jessica Day." And it's funny because there's a lot of similarities there. But as I went through and was reminded of my academic career from elementary school to middle school to high school, I happened to be really drawn to teacher helper and leadership roles, whether it was, helping clap chalkboard erasers or facilitating recess for younger students, whether it was student government, which I did throughout my entire high school career and into early college, or speech and debate, whether it was selling. I sold thousands and thousands and thousands of cookies and chocolate bars and egg bagels with cream cheese to fundraise. Whether it was, being a math tutor or working at an executive MBA office, which I did. I was really involved in how do you advocate? How do you find your voice? How do you express and communicate your point of view? I was very, very much into that. But still, I considered myself 100% a future business person. And I knew I wanted to mix entrepreneurship with some type of retail. I thought it was going to be fashion 100%, but some type of retail. And still, in spite of all of my extracurricular interests, most likely to become a teacher seemed like a bad fit. Until in the middle of my business school education, I was introduced by one of my favorite sociology professors to microenterprise, microentrepreneurship, microfinance as a worldwide business community that needs support, that needs education, training, grants, organizational support and academic support. And it was at that point that I really started to embrace, oh yes, I love teaching. I taught even post-college in my professional retail career. If I wasn't taking hours and hours of professional development, I was facilitating hours and hours of professional development, specifically in retail merchandising, within a retail merchandising framework. And over this course of time, I've been really fortunate to hone this trifecta of interests that include retail, microenterprise, and teaching. And so I want to share my field observation on being a teacher and being a merchant. And it's this: retailers, makers, merchants are in fact teachers. Teachers imparting knowledge and shaping behavior. So retailers, makers, and merchants are teachers. Congratulations, you're a teacher. So think through the 5 rights of retail and think about right message. Right message is about crafting a message to inspire or motivate the desired behavior. You're a teacher when you are providing product knowledge. You're a teacher when you are training employees. You're a teacher when you are a role model, modeling the way. You're a teacher when you're advocating for your customers and their lifestyle during market week, when you're selecting assortment, when you're managing inventory. You're a teacher when you're advocating for your business values, whether they are long-term strategic projects or day-to-day choices. And for sure, I have been the beneficiary and shaped by wonderful directors, managers, supervisors, VPs, leaders. I've been shaped by counterparts and cross-functional team members and coworkers. I've been shaped by business brands that I've worked for and with, shaped by very specific, in the moment work opportunities and work challenges. I've been shaped by exploratory projects, no doubt. But the fine detail is shaped by the fact that I am a teacher. And I really want to encourage you to embrace that, whether you are already embracing that you have this teacher role or whether you're a bit more hesitant. I want you to think through how you teach, whether it's within this context of right message, or any of the 5 rights of retail. And I really invite you to be an active teacher within the dynamic relationship you have with your employees and your team or with your customers. And so I want to wrap up with my most valuable teacher tip. And I learned it more recently as I was teaching at the Art Institute, an academic institution that requires academic rigor. And that is the rubric. And if you're not familiar with the rubric, it's really an evaluation tool or a set of guidelines that is really used to promote consistency. That's the value. It promotes consistency, not only in how students apply the work expectations, apply the roles and responsibilities, but also as a teacher, how you evaluate it. Now, with anything, the value of a tool comes from the quality of what you put in it, right? Like great recipes start from, or great meals start from great recipes and great ingredients and great talent, right? Quality in, quality out, junk in, junk out. And they're really helpful because they allow you to evaluate your students very quickly, but they take a lot of time to set up. Think of it like meal planning. Or meal prep. It takes so much time to plan meals for the week. You really invest a lot of time. It can take almost a whole day, if not a whole day, but then you save all of that time through the rest of the week. So rubrics are valuable because it provides really clear expectations, right? So if you're meal planning, let's use that for an example, you are thinking ahead, you're being strategic, you are dedicating your time just to setting up the plan so that when you are in the moment of a hectic day, between meetings, rushing, having the feels, you can fall back on the fact that when you were not in this state of fury or not in overwhelm or had very little time, you pre-thought that out. That's the value of a rubric. It provides really clear expectations for students. But really, I love it because it decreases inconsistency in teacher evaluations. It decreases bias in teacher evaluations. And when you think through rubrics as it applies to leading a team, it's closely related to evaluating performance, but rubrics are far more rigorous, in my opinion, than employee evaluations for small businesses. And what I say to you, when you think through your role as a teacher, your role as a leader, and setting expectations, right message, right message, right message. Mixed signals are confusing. Mixed signals takes time. Mixed signals are costly. And I would really think through and encourage you to reflect on all the times that you are a teacher and embrace it. I've embraced that I have become a teacher and that it's really added all the detail and all the nuance to the way that I lead in retail. And it will add this element of your own personal branding to you as a retail leader. So congratulations. Welcome to the Teacher Crew. I'm really excited for you and I to be in this teacher lounge. So I would love for you to stay with me through the rest of this podcast season. You can subscribe to Retail Shift and Merchant Method on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if there's a nugget in here or a gem, please leave a rating or a comment. And if you have another equally passionate friend who supports independent retail and making, please share this with them. Until then, I will catch you next week. I'm Chris Guillo. Thank you so much for joining me.